Burkina Faso, the fire of sovereignty is blazing stronger than ever. The nation is reclaiming its ancestral lands and crushing the cancer of terrorism with fire and iron. Under the leadership of Captain Ibrahim Traoré. In a shocking admission, Air Marshal Hossein Abubakar, the chief of the Nigerian Air Force, recently stated that the cost of stopping terrorism in Nigeria is too expensive and that the country simply cannot afford it at the moment. Just when Nigerians begin to hope that local vigilantes and community defenders might fill the security gap, a new tragedy strikes. In Zamfara State, Nigerian Air Force aircraft mistakenly bombed 20 vigilantes.
Welcome to VoxAfrica News, where African voices take center stage and every report is driven by truth, courage, and the demand for justice. If you're watching for the first time, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. In the heart of West Africa, Burkina Faso is blazing a trail of sovereignty and defiance. What many once dismissed as a fragile state has now become a symbol of resistance. Under the leadership of Captain Ibrahim Traoré, the country is reclaiming its land and confronting terrorism not with hesitation, but with unwavering determination. While some international media outlets paint a picture of chaos, the real discomfort in the West seems to stem from a different fear, the rise of a self-reliant Africa. An Africa no longer begging, but building. Not dependent, but dignified.
In the context of gold production in Burkina, for a long time it was said that we were not a gold-producing country, but for some time now, gold has become the #1 export product. But we have no control over the gold, whether it's exploration, production, or as you have seen, refining. We asked ourselves a lot of questions, and today we have decided to set up an entire chain. As you are following with APEC, we want to mine the gold ourselves. Today we are laying the first stone of the refinery. We will no longer have to send our gold abroad for refining. We will refine it on site, and we will know the actual content of the raw gold that comes out. That is very important. And also, through SONASPE, we are in the process of, it's a way to invite local gold miners to bring the gold back inside the country, because SONASPE is the organization that will buy the gold so that we can refine it here. A lot of gold leaves Burkina Faso illegally, and this actually helps to fund terrorism. So we are encouraging gold miners, whether they are collectors or others, to bring the gold to the central area. And at the same time, we are also urging SONASPE to increase the number of collection points in order to gather more gold. And in addition to this refinery, I hope that in the coming days, we will have another even more important project underway. This concerns the treatment of waste. A plant that was designed by Burkinabe engineers, which is currently in the testing phase. And we hope that in the coming hours, they will tell us that the test has been successful. And so this creates a complete chain to add value to our gold.
So we ask, is the West truly concerned about instability, or are they concerned about independence? Could it be that if Burkina Faso succeeds, it sets a precedent other nations might follow, turning away from conditional aid and asserting true sovereignty? Let us know in the comments, is a free Africa more frightening to the global elite than a failed one? Meanwhile, Nigeria, Africa's most populous nation, remains engulfed in a persistent wave of insecurity. In a stunning revelation, the chief of the Nigerian Air Force, Air Marshal Hossein Abubakar, publicly declared that combating terrorism in Nigeria is simply too expensive, that the nation cannot bear the financial cost. This statement begs a painful question: what is the role of the Nigerian state if not to protect its own people?
Now, the second question, to give you an impression of how, or a picture of how costly it is. Okay, you see, I will just give you one example. We have an unmanned aerial system from China that we call the Winglong 2. It carries it's armed with a bomb and a missile, or two types of armaments. That is bomb and then missile. It doesn't carry guns or cannons. Now, the missile, the cost of the missile, one, is $156,000. One. And the cost of the bomb is about $96,000. So, a UAV takes off and it goes and, it sees a couple of, and that is why these things are very complex. Now, how do you balance it? It's a very complex or delicate balance. If you see a couple of, even if it's a verified target, you see maybe 10, even 20 insurgents. Now you are taking maybe 2 missiles of $300,000 to neutralize 10 bandits or terrorists. If you look at it, yes, you want to achieve the mission, but at what cost? So it's really very, very expensive. That is just one platform, and it's similar for other platforms in the Air Force. Now, the cost doesn't stop at that. That is just the armament or the munition that the airplane carries. For any time that the airplane flies, you are looking at the cost of flying hour, because it's calculated, or you are flying towards overhaul or maintenance, because there are scheduled maintenance, let's say after every 20 to 25 hours, you have to carry out some scheduled maintenance, whether there is a problem or not. And so when you cost everything, consumables, the maintenance costs, the fuel costs and everything, you can get as much as 10, 20,000, depending on the airplane, 10, 20,000, even 30,000 dollars per hour of operation of one airplane, depending on the airplane. The more complex, the more expensive. The faster, the more expensive. The bigger, the more expensive, so you scale it that way. But we have all sorts. We have the slow, we have the big, we have the complex, we have the simple. So when you combine all that, the cost for running and maintaining an Air Force is actually very, very huge. Very, very huge. So just to have an impression of how much. Many Nigerians are still losing their lives due to insecurity. And we gave some statistics. I'm not sure how accurate those statistics are, but that's not the issue. Obviously, there has been a resurgence, particularly in the northeast, and quite a few people have lost their lives in the past 3 months or thereabouts. Now, we need to understand a couple of fundamentals. Now, generally, insurgencies take a very long time once they grow, and they take a very long time to solve, despite all the effort. So, it's a work in progress. You will recall that sometime in 2023, there was a lot of, and the media carried it all over also, that as far as who were concerned, Maiduguri was on the Northeast theater was over, because there was virtually nothing happening. And that was when the Northwest banditry was picking up, and then we concentrated a lot of effort there, because apparently the impression was that the situation in the Northeast had gotten stabilized, got to a very minimum level, but then, of course, we saw that is not the case. So it keeps, going and coming, and it's a complex environment. So, for example, there is a lot of limitation as to what you can do. I mentioned earlier that you need a lot of intelligence. So for us in the Air Force, we cannot, carry out operations with general purpose munitions, for example, because of the effect and the likelihood of collateral damage and all that. So it's a difficult challenge. We are doing what we can to address it. We also have our challenges, but I can assure you that we are doing everything that we can to make sure that the situation is abated until all nooks and crannies return to peace and prosperity. We are working jointly, and we have also come a long way as far as that is concerned, because this is something that requires a lot of joint effort. Of course, the Air Force alone, neither can the Army or any other single service is able to address the challenge alone. So we are working more closely than ever before with the other security agencies to be able to address this. One very important point that we have not been paying attention to in the past is that, and we have said it in a couple of fora, the fact is that anywhere you have insurgencies, it has been proven empirically through research that up to 70-75% of the solution lies in the non-kinetic approach. And only about 25% of internal security challenges or issues can be solved through kinetic means. So while the armed forces, and this is after studying virtually every spot in the world where insurgencies have taken place and what was done eventually, and so it's empirical, it's research, scientific research that was done. So that is properly established, So now, coming back to us, the military is doing a lot, but empirically it has been proven that we can only achieve 25% irrespective of whatever effort that we put in. Now, the other aspect has to be done by what we call the whole of government and whole of society approach. And I think that is where we have to put in a lot of effort. Because even when the military goes in and is able to solve the problem, if this whole of society approach, which includes solving the problem from the root cause, not addressing, the symptoms, then this problem will still recur, just like it has happened now. Once those other issues that have to do with the whole of government, whole of society approach are not addressed, no matter the success achieved by the military, it's just a matter of time. It's going to, the effect will be lost. And I think that is what we are seeing, particularly in the Northeast. So that aspect has to be very adequately addressed. And that is why even at our own level, like for us in the Air Force, we are doing a lot of effort at our own level. We cannot do it alone, but we are putting a lot of playing our own part to make sure we have more robust civil-military relations. We're able to bring people close to us and then do a lot of civil-military activities, civil-military relations activities, including quick impact projects, medical outreaches, educational outreaches. Those are some of the things. But we can only do this much, but so every other person has to be involved in that. And that is, I think, the way forward in solving this problem.
How did we arrive at this point? Nigeria is not poor, its resources, manpower, and economic potential are immense. Yet its citizens remain at the mercy of terrorists and bandits. Is this truly about budget constraints, or a sign of misplaced priorities? If billions can be spent on elections, luxury vehicles, foreign trips, and elite medical care, why can't the same commitment be made to secure ordinary Nigerians? Are Nigerian lives now calculated in naira and kobo? Or is this a failure of leadership, where the lives of the masses are worth less than the comfort of the privileged few? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Is this a matter of cost, or of conscience? Just as hope flickers through the rise of local defenders and vigilantes, tragedy strikes again. In Zamfara State, Nigerian Air Force strikes reportedly killed 20 vigilantes, citizens who had stepped up where the government had stepped back. And this isn't the first time. Barely 2 months ago, a similar mistake took over 10 lives in the same region. How many more times must this happen before someone is held accountable? We must ask, if those defending their communities are being bombed, who is really being targeted? Who is responsible for these so-called intelligence failures? And why do these accidents never seem to happen in wealthy?
Nigerian military jet mistakenly strikes and by 20 vigilantes in Zamfara State. Please, is this a mistake or a deliberate attempt, a deliberate act? Because why do I feel like vigilante by terrorists and Fulani henchmen in Zamfara State, then allegedly they retaliated by a bombarding the vigilante? So now, if it was actually a mistake, why did it only affect vigilante? This my mouth will not land me in trouble. Why did it only affected 20 vigilantes? It was a mistake. We need to ask, is it a mistake or a deliberate act? Because if actually is a mistake, there's no way all of them will be vigilante. Anyway, I got this news from Sahara Reporters, so that's the source of Sahara Reporters. That's the source of this news. Why is it only affected vigilantes if actually is a mistake? Other civilians would have involved. And this is becoming a norm. This is an avoidable mistake. This is not the first time the Nigerian military buying civilians with this kind of, What's going on? What is going on? If people on this, military jets, the pilot or whatever are not professional, they should look for more professionals. Or the jets are faulty. What is going on? We can't be losing life for unavoidable mistakes like this. My opinion, though. Tell me yours at the comment section.
Can a nation fight terror while simultaneously undermining its own defenders? Is this just incompetence, or a sign of something far more sinister? Let us hear from you. What do you believe is truly happening in Zamfara? At VoxAfrica News, we are committed to bringing you bold and honest journalism. If this report resonates with you, let's ask the hard question: why is Burkina Faso, smaller in size and wealth, managing to reclaim its territory and restore security, while Nigeria appears to drift deeper into chaos? Is this about resources or resolve? Leadership or loyalty to foreign interests? Could it be that Nigeria's vast oil wealth, international alliances, and strategic importance make it too valuable to be stable? Could insecurity be manufactured, a convenient tool for internal power brokers and external influencers alike? These are uncomfortable questions, but we must ask them. Is Nigeria's crisis natural or orchestrated? And more importantly, who benefits from the chaos? Closing questions. If Nigeria cannot afford to defend its people, then what are we paying for? The luxuries of the political class. Foreign education for their children. Medical tourism and imported champagne. Meanwhile, the poor are left to dig graves, mourn their dead, and live in fear. Will the next village be yours? The next vigilante group bombed? Or will Nigerians stand up, demand answers, and reclaim their dignity? Conclusion. This is no longer just a regional issue, it is a continental battle for dignity and direction. Burkina Faso has shown us that with vision and will, liberation is possible. Nigeria stands at the crossroads. The choice is clear, but will the people rise? Thank you for watching VoxAfrica News, your voice, your truth, your Africa. Like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on notifications so you never miss the stories others won't tell. We don't follow trends, we follow truth. Disclaimer. This report is for educational and informational purposes. The views expressed reflect critical analysis, public concerns, and journalistic inquiry based on available reports and official statements. VoxAfrica News does not endorse violence, misinformation, or hate. We encourage respectful dialogue and critical thinking in all our platforms.